This is Steffen Schmidt for InsiderIowa.com. We are watching the Iowa caucuses and the GOP presidential race very closely. One of the things that has happened in the last few weeks is Sarah Palin, who was, the darling of the Tea Party, sort of their national leader in some indirect ways, has faded into the background some. And in her place, Michelle Bachman, the congresswoman from Minnesota, I think has kind of stepped into the same role of what they call the mama grizzly bear, the very aggressive, very conservative, and good-looking candidate or spokesperson for the conservative cause. The question earlier here was, why has Sarah Palin faded? And I think there are a couple of reasons. One of them is she's making a lot of money, and she has speaking engagements and all kinds of other things. And if she decided to run for president, some of those would have to go away, because there are still, believe it or not, there are still some election laws that require you to recuse yourself from being a talk show host and stuff like that. And I think she may very well have decided that doing those things is more important in her life, and that she can play the role of sort of kingmaker in the background with her blog and other things. The other thing is that the Tea Party movement has cooled off to some extent. After the 2010 election, they got a lot of people elected to Congress and other positions, and they've gone home. They're getting their gardens ready now for the spring to plant stuff, and you haven't seen as much Tea Party noise. And so I think they were carrying her as a kind of crowd on their shoulder, and now Sarah Palin is a little bit more on her own. Michelle Bachman has a tremendous speaking ability. She can really get the crowd excited, and that's very valuable, of course, in politics. She has made a lot of mistakes and said a lot of things that seem either incorrect or irrational, and a lot of people don't like her because of that. She seems a bit extreme on some issues, but in politics you can never rely on a candidate doing well just because they're smart and knowledgeable. If you have a kind of political charisma and you've got what it takes to get people to be excited about you, that's enough. On the other hand, even Michelle Bachman, though in Iowa, for example, she is an Iowa girl. She was born in Iowa, is a congresswoman from a neighboring state, and in Minnesota, and she has played that very well in coming to meetings and to events and political rallies in Iowa. And that's helped her a lot, because the hometown girl always has an advantage on the field. If you're the visiting team, it's a little harder. On the other hand, there are lots of candidates now that have the same message that she does. Donald Trump has been using the platform that Obama is not a native-born American to very successfully ramp up the enthusiasm and support of some of the more conservative Republicans, and that's probably cutting into Michelle Bachman's numbers some. But she's still up there in the polls, and in my book, sort of among the top 3, 4, 5 most interesting Republican candidates, because she is the only woman in the GOP field, and that's very interesting. And as I said, she is politically very ambitious. It was interesting to see that in the budget debate that we recently had, Michelle Bachman actually did not side with the more conservative Tea Party members of the House of Representatives. She did not want the federal government to shut down, and that was a strange departure from her normal support for the Tea Party movement and its very hardcore position, especially on budget cuts. So is Michelle Bachman learning? Is she evolving? Has she understood that some of her positions may not, really get her either the nomination or the White House? And we're going to watch her very closely because it's a very interesting development. She seems to be kind of politically maturing a little bit from this sort of harsh and take no prisoners woman that she's been in this pre-caucus season here. This is Steffen Schmidt for InsiderIowa.com.